right, we're live. We're not live, we're online. Brooke, thank you so much for coming on this video call with me. I I brought you on because you have been a client for quite some time now. Actually, twice we did two journeys together. One was in 2019. We started working together in a small group setup, which was more a 3 months transformation, health transformation, habit transformation, exercise, and that was a lot of fun. And maybe you can share a bit about that, what your experience was. And then recently, end of last year in October, we started digging deeper into the psychology, the psyche, and what lies within you, and things that are holding you back in your life, because you wanted to shift on a number of levels in your life. So we did a 3 months journey, another 3 months journey together, but at a deeper level than back then in that small group setup. And yeah, I brought you on, and thank you for doing that with me, just to share a bit where you were coming from back then, what actually led you to do the small group activity, and then come back end of last year and go really, really deep, which was so much fun so far. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for being so open. Thank you for working with me. It's been so much pleasure so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me and giving me this experience. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, maybe you can share a bit what was the starting point for you back in 2019? What led you to come
Yeah,
to this group?
absolutely. I had just graduated from college and moved back home, and I felt like I was a little lost.
Uh-huh.
And one of my neighbors had mentioned that you were coming to do a seminar up at the club where my parents belong about kicking sugar habit. And I was very interested because I felt like I just needed to make some changes in my life, and I wanted to make some changes in my life. So it started with me going to kind of, maybe help with my eating habits and my sugar intake and that sort of thing. And then, we came up with the group of three women and yourself, and
Yeah.
it started off with that, and then it turned into a really deep spiritual journey for me. It was kind of like the start of my spiritual journey for myself, and kind of getting to know who I am again, and just digging deeper into my meaning of life, my purpose in life. I always felt like I was meant for something bigger, but I wasn't sure how to get there and what that necessarily was.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, then it went from there. And
Yeah. So then we did that. And what was your biggest outcome from, or the biggest change or realization at the end of the first 3 months that we worked together?
it's so interesting because I remember specifically our last meeting that we had. I told you that I didn't even recognize that person that I was 3 months ago.
Mhm.
And it's not that I didn't love her still, and she wasn't always going to be a part of me, but the things that I learned a lot about myself and my habits, physically, mentally, spiritually. And I feel like I took away from that just the simple observing of myself and, my role in the world
Uh-huh.
and life itself, the meaning of life, why we're all here, why am I here?
Yeah.
Um, and I felt like it really led me to my purpose. And then, talk about coming now, where we are now. And
Yeah.
so it was like a really big stepping stone and leap for me to just propel my life to the next level of health, happiness, really a lot of inner peace and just getting to know myself and love myself for exactly who I am in that moment.
And then also, do you remember the biggest why you actually came on this one statement? Do you remember that?
Gosh, it was so long ago.
That you were meant for something?
Bigger than myself. I feel like I was placed here on earth for a reason, and that was my big takeaway was, or my big why of why I signed up.
Yeah.
And it actually came about when we had our first meeting. I thought I was going there, to kick my bad habits, and then we started talking about it and it just kind of came out. And I just said I've always felt like I am meant for something bigger.
Exactly. I was so amazed too, because yes, we had this certain framework for the program, but then we talked and I was like, okay, digging deep. So why do you want this? Why do you want this? And what's the benefit of that? And what would you get out of that?
Yes.
And then eventually, because I'm meant for something bigger.
Yes.
Yes, that's
And
it.
it just like came out. Like it was just it just felt so natural. And I really do feel like that program, you know, healthy eating habits, physically exercising, mentally getting right, spiritually feeling aligned with myself helped me to find what that bigger purpose is, and all that good stuff. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah.
Did you feel, and just, I mean, maybe to share that, in the setup, how was the group dynamic? Was that helpful, or would you, versus because we did the first session to get the two of us one-on-one, and the last session, the 12th session, but in between it was in the group. What did you think about that? Actually, we never talked about that, so it's good that I'm asking you this question now, because I thought it's a unique setup. You have the starting point to set the stage, right? And then at the end, see what you get out of it, how you want to take it further in your life. What did you think about this mix?
I thought the group setup was nice. I really liked it because I felt like it was inspiring for everyone.
Uh,
And you form this connection with these other people, this deep inner connection, which I look for and I try to look for in all my relationships.
mhm.
And I felt like because it was such a safe space, people were, open and willing to discuss what they were going through, and to have that support, I think was really, really huge and played a tremendous factor in the growth of everyone.
Yeah.
Um,
So the safe space, the accountability, I think was also, right, that was part of it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I thought too, the learning that you learned from each other's challenges and successes that
Mhm.
you were able to share, really powerful. Wow, cool. And then fast forward October 2020, we were in contact on and off in between, but then you eventually said, well, I really want to do something different in my life, and probably work further towards this. I'm meant for something bigger in my life, right? So tell me a little bit about that. What was going on back then?
Yeah, absolutely. And the first program we did, I felt like helped me with my habits, and like I said, it kind of propelled me forward.
Yeah.
And then I was in a career which I'm very grateful for, that I was able to have this career and start my own business as a personal stylist. I felt, however, though, like it wasn't my big it.
Mhm.
And I just felt like I was searching, and some personal things happened in my family, and um, I felt like I wanted to dig deeper into even my past and what happened,
Yeah.
in my past and how that affects my life now,
Yeah.
and really kind of break through those barriers and those blockages that I had in my life so that I could focus on why I'm here.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what led me to, working with you again, and specifically you, because I feel so safe with you, and it's a safe environment for me to be very vulnerable and for me to go back to those places that aren't necessarily very comforting, but
Yeah.
with you there supporting me, I felt like it was going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you for mentioning that. I mean, that's of course always a huge trust factor, and it really creates this special, as you said, safe container and relationship where you can just talk open and be vulnerable, and because that's what is needed if you want to unfold whatever is brewing inside of you, whatever is part of your programming, all the things that you went through, that you have experienced, that you have taken on from your parents, right? We talked about parents and the generations that came before, and the programming and the pattern that you also saw in your life, how you were playing out in your personal life, in your professional life. Even I found that very interesting. How we always like pretty much covering the personal side, but it spills into your professional life as well, right? It's not disconnected, and
Absolutely.
that was interesting to see.
And that the personal ecosystem, I felt like it's interesting how it happened, right? So like our first 12 weeks, our first 3 months program, I felt like was kind of it dug deep, but then working one-on-one, we were really go down to that next layer and heal that layer.
Mhm.
And working with the psyche, with Psych K, and all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it is interesting how it really does parallel, especially when you feel like you're here for a reason and a purpose.
yeah,
Your personal life is, I mean, it's your purpose. So it really parallels your professional career, I think.
yeah,
Especially if you are in the field of wanting to be a healer or wanting to do some type of spiritual work or whatever it may be. I mean, it could not be that. So
yeah.
I do feel like it definitely parallels each other.
Yeah, so so it was this unique combination of just unfolding or looking into whatever was popping up in your life, right? At every week we met, but then also have this back end guide of, okay, working on your purpose, working on your vision, on your mission, on your values, and then on your unique essence, your unique skills, and what is really inside of you. What's the gift that you bring to the world, so to say, that wants to come out. And I always said, Brooke, the world needs you right now. We got to bring that out, this little nucleus that's inside of you, and that wants to be lived and serve and help other people, because that is such a big driver for you, right?
Absolutely. And it's interesting when I was going through those questions, and I think that's also an important aspect is, doing the work outside of our sessions too.
Yeah,
And as I was going through those questions, it actually helped heal some of the underlying subconscious patterns and cycles that I had created for myself, not even really knowing,
mhm,
specifically with like the unique skills, being really honest and feeling like I have something that I want to offer the world.
yeah.
And that was really beautiful.
Yeah, it was really nice to see how that came about. Like in every session where we, okay, now let's talk about this and see how it connects to each other, and you pretty much end up with this little ecosystem about yourself. This is who you are, right? This is who you are. Really good understanding of who you are, and then you're able to define your goals. Like, what do you actually want to do in life with that person that is you?
And it
And
was also interesting because it helped me to visualize the life that that I want, like, and not holding back. Like, if this is what I want, this is what I deserve, and it's okay to want that. And having it to refer back to, and having those tools, when we do end our sessions, and um or when I'm going through the week and I'm feeling, maybe like I'm reverting back to my old patterns, pulling that out and saying, no, this is what I want and this is what I deserve. And being okay with that and feeling happy about it and at peace with it.
mm, yeah, going with the flow pretty much. And maybe you can talk a bit about this experience, which falls under the framework of energy psychology. That's pretty much what we used as the tool set, so to say, but we also combined it with inner child work, right? So like healing journeys and getting in touch with your inner child, looking at the generational thing. So you did a lot of things in between our sessions that were really complementary to our work together. And I liked how a lot of things were brought together, the muscle testing and getting your belief system, like reshaping your underlying belief system, but then the work that you did outside of our sessions and what was coming up was really interesting to see.
Yeah, it was really amazing. I remember our first session. we As always, we just dove right into it. And I remember specifically that time, and we worked on inner child, throughout. But it brought me back to my childhood trauma.
Mm,
And I felt as though I was inside of her body in that moment. And then working with Psyche and doing the muscle testing and coming up with a powerful statement
yeah.
to that, for me, was like huge. And um, I feel like I found myself whenever I was, doing something and something would come up in my mind, I'd repeat that statement to myself and I'd instantly feel this, like you just did, a big sigh out, like it's going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing, the results from it. And even my energy fields and my patterns influenced the people around me. And, in our last session, I gave an example of changing the narrative, not only in myself, but in the people who surround me. And it's really beautiful. And I think that, you know, I just think Psyche is such a wonderful thing to have because it also helps, solidify and validate and make you feel like a sense of like, okay, I can do this. I can rechange, or change my subconscious mind. And I feel like it's tangible results.
Mm.
I really do. I feel like I can see it happening.
So I want to you brought up one interesting example, but before I ask you about that, can you tell me what you think the difference is between regular counseling therapy and what we did together? Because I've been asked that. I people ask me that question all the time. So are you like a therapist? I was like, no, I'm not a therapist. Here's the difference, but I want to hear it from you. How would you explain it?
So I've done both. I've done therapy and I've, worked with you. My takeaway is that I feel like when we start our sessions, I do tell you what I'm feeling and what I'm going through,
Mhm.
but then we transition out of that maybe negative mindset, or that trauma based brain, and we figure out how I want to change it. Where do I want to go from there? And then we implement the tools that you have and the tools that you've given me to recreate that narrative into a positive light. and to bring some happiness and some joy around it. Like throughout our sessions, I came to the realization that, my past traumas and my past experiences aren't mine to hold on to. They're mine to take and to learn from and share with the world. So kind of reframing it from a trauma, that happened, I think it's important to realize that and important to share how you feel, but then change it into a positive frame. And it really is it's miraculous. That's how I would describe it. Is and I think that's the difference. I felt like my therapy served its purpose, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I needed to experience that. I feel like for me, what the difference is that I have these tools and I have these, and I could like I could see it, my brain and my thoughts transforming and taking something that I would normally consider negative, or why did this happen to me. And it's okay to be there, but
Yes.
then let's transform it into something that empowers us, that makes us stronger, that gives us strength, that we feel at peace with. So
Yeah.
that was a lot, but
Yeah.
that to
Love it.
me is the difference, is those tools that can help propel you forward and reframe it in a positive way, so you don't keep reliving these, horrific events that happens in your life, because your body doesn't know the difference. So when you can reframe your mind and your mindset around those incidences, I think it's just so powerful. And you only need 12 weeks. You don't need year after year after year.
Yeah.
But again, therapy serves its purpose. So
Good.
whatever you're called to do is what you should do. To me, that's the difference, though.
Yeah. Beautiful said, Brooke. I could never describe it this way probably, but yeah. So that's, I think, it's important to say that every tool, every modality has its purpose, right? There is no silver bullet for like every problem that you want to tackle. I always say that this tool may be good for you for this particular issue or for this particular goal, and something else may work for something else or at another time maybe, right? So it's great to have this just openness, and
Absolutely.
in your case it worked out really well. And what I was amazed with when you told me, because we always talk about the experiences during the when we balance on or when we change a subconscious program, and the way you described how you feel it uh, getting, like, maybe you can share that. I was blown away, actually. This was beautiful.
It was so powerful. Like sometimes, during when we needed to rebalance my subconscious mind, when I came up with a statement and, I didn't believe it. Oh my gosh. I mean, we would go through these muscle testings, and I mean, there was different experiences every time, but I remember this one time I felt like it was like when when I came together and I placed it in my heart center, I felt like it was almost like I could see this line of energy coming from my hands and pouring into my heart, and my whole body changed. I felt comfortable, I felt confident, I felt happy, I felt peaceful, but it was like I could feel it like spilling into me. And I mean, there was lots of different things that came up, but to me that was one of the most powerful ones, was
Yeah.
feeling that shift, physically feeling it and in my energy.
Mhm.
And my heart was full of just this light that was coming from my own subconscious mind that you helped me reframe. And so it's just beautiful, and it's very empowering.
Yeah. And yes, thank you. And what I was really also really amazed with is what you said about how you felt at the beginning, and
uh,
then like after a couple of weeks, which was exactly what I saw in you, the way you were talking, like everything changed. There's so many things that changed about you in a matter of weeks.
I feel like for probably 27 or I'll be 29 in March. So we started working together in October. So I was still 28. I would say up until, I think that when we first did our sessions back in 2019, I think it helped me tremendously. And then, we had a family, something happened in our family, and it kind of brought me back to that that trauma-based mind. And when we started our sessions, I felt like I was, you know, living in my 12-year-old self's body.
Yeah.
And then and brain and emotional state and everything. And then, I would say even like the first couple weeks, and especially even now, like I just feel like I'm a woman now, and I'm 28 years old, mentally, emotionally, physically. I feel like I'm here.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's just been a really amazing transformation. And I feel like I like to use the term, like, I feel like I'm home now. Like I'm home.
You came home.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing all that, Brooke. This is really, really powerful.
Absolutely. Thank you for everything.
Yeah. It was
Like
good.
I said before, you're probably one of the biggest blessings to ever come into my life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I learned so much in working with you. And for me, it's always a joy in every session and every get together. We just see what's coming up and the learning in between, because we were also in touch in between our
Yeah,
sessions, and just seeing what was popping up in your life, and then like how you navigated that. And yeah, thank you for letting me be part of that. It's really, really nice. Do you have anything else that you want to share about where maybe something, what was the biggest learning for you, other than coming home, which is
yeah.
beautiful? I said that. Relationships, professionally, maybe just one last um, a few statements around that. What has shifted for you, and how you're doing things different going forward?
Absolutely. Well, I also want to add on to the fact that we did keep in contact,
Yeah.
in between our sessions. I felt like that was extremely helpful.
Mhm.
But as far as what I what I've learned and taken away from all of this was, I feel like I am able to be my authentic and true self in every situation, in
Yeah.
my relationships, in my personal life, professional life. And I feel love for that version of myself. And I feel like for me that was such a big blessing and such a big gift, is to be able to just be me and be okay with that and
Yeah.
share that with the world
What?
and peel back all those layers.
Yeah.
Peel back all those layers to reveal who I am.
Yeah. And I can't wait for you to do exactly that,
Yeah.
sharing your gifts with the world and how
Soon,
you
soon.
want it. I'm really, really curious how you're gonna go. I mean, you took the first steps already, and I'm sure you're gonna do really great things and be of great service to people that come to you and that hear your message, and in whatever you're going to do
Well, thank
next.
you very much.
Yeah. Changing the narrative. That's something that you always say, I want to change the narrative. And I think
Absolutely.
yeah, you'll be amazing at that.
Well, thank you, Lars, so much for everything.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a beautiful experience, and I'm so happy I was able to share it with you.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing it in in this setup here. And because I always feel people need to be inspired, right? What are others going through? And there's always something that resonates with me. That's at least how I feel.
Mhm.
And putting it out like this is maybe helpful for others too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Lars.